All right, welcome back. You're still watching Tonight, and it's time for Data Point. We want to pay some special focus because since last year, something has been changing in this country, and it's just about to change again come next year in February. That is NSSF contributions. Let's first, just to remind you what has been happening, is that in 2023, when that rate changed in the Tier 1, it meant that the maximum contribution for that level is going to be 6,000, which means that 6% of this is what would go to the NSSF. In the same year, a maximum of 18,000. So you take 18,000 minus 6,000, which is 12,000 shillings. That is what would go, a percentage of that, which is 6% of that, is what would go additionally to NSSF, or if the employer wants, can take it to a different arrangement where there's a registered pension program. Now, in 2024, the year that we are in, that changed. And in Tier 1, the maximum is 7,000, and on Tier 2 is up to 36,000. Now, in 2025, the amount that will be subjected to NSSF contribution in Tier 1 will be 8,000. In Tier 2 will be 72,000. In the year that will come, that is 2026, it will again go up. In Tier 1, it will be 9,000. And in Tier 2, the maximum will be 108,000 shillings. I'll be explaining what that exactly means because the employer is also expected to match the contribution of every employee. Let's take a look at that, which is to say that if at the moment, this is the maximum contribution that has been coming from employees. The lower limit of 7,000, subject that to 6%, comes to 420 shillings. The upper limit of 36,000, but remember you've already taken care of 7,000, so the difference is 29,000. Subject that to 6%, it gives you 1,720, which is a total of 36,000, being subjected to 6%, giving you 2,160. So at the moment, the maximum contribution for any employee in the country has been 2,160 shillings every month, the same matched by the employer. So meaning that in total, 4,320 has been contributed for every employee in the country at maximum. Now, in 2025, that will change. I told you that the lower limit will change to 8,000 from 7,000. So subject that to 6%, will give you 480,000. If you subject now the upper limit of 72,000 minus 8,000 gives you 64,000. So subject that to 6%, it gives you 3,840. In total, 72,000 worth of salary is being subjected for NSSF contributions, which will be 4,320. This is important because you're moving again from the maximum of 2,160 to 4,320. The same will be paid for the employee by the employer. Let's take a look at something else that you need to know. And this is what will happen in the year to come, 2026, after next year. The lower limit, 9,000. Subject that to 6%, gives you 540. The upper limit will rise to 108,000, meaning the difference will be 99,000, which is 108,000 minus 9,000. Subject that to 6% to be 5,940. Again, the total contribution that year will be 6,480 plus a similar contribution from the employer that will go to the NSSF, or if the employer has opted for a registered pension fund, then the second contribution of 5,940 can be taken there. Let's take a look at something else that you need to know. And we are looking at an example of someone earning a salary of 50,000 shillings. What is going to happen next year? The lower limit again, 8,000, deduction of 480. The upper limit, of course, 72,000, but this person only earns 50,000 maximum. So 50,000 minus 8,000 is 42,000. Subject that to 6% gives you 2,420, and therefore the contribution for this employee come February 2025 will be 3,000 shillings, up from 2,160. These are your savings. The employer also will have to make a similar contribution, raising it to 6,000 in total. Let's take a look at someone earning a salary of, say, 40,000 shillings. The lower limit, again, remains the same, 480 shillings. Now, the difference between 40,000 and 8,000 is 32,000. Subject that to 6%, gives you 2,520, and this should give you a total, no, there's a problem here, because 32%, or rather, that should be the total is correct, which is 2,400. There's just a problem there that we're going to correct. But again, it is an increase from 2,160. So you need to know that. Again, the employer is going to match that contribution of 2,400. Now, for someone earning 80,000 shillings, we need to take note of this. So the lower limit is 8,000. Again, that's 480 shillings. The upper limit is 72,000, but this person earns 80,000 shillings. So the only thing that you can take care of is the difference of 72,000 and 8,000, which is 64,000, giving you the maximum contribution of 4,320 shillings. So for next year, that would be the match that this employee will contribute. But come 2026, remember I told you that the upper limit is going to change to 108,000, so that person will contribute 4,800 shillings. Double that from the employer, that will give you 9,600 shillings that will go towards the pension contribution, either to the NSSF or again split it between NSSF and a pension fund, a registered pension fund service, which can be found in the country. And that's how it's looking on data point. Again, let's just do some bit of calculation, because you need also to look at the impact. In October 2022, with NSSF, which was 200 shillings, there was no housing levy. The NHF was 1,200. The pay was 7,143. This person earning 50,000 took home 41,456. October, which is last month, they took home 39,000 because of the contribution for NSSF having risen to 2160 maximum, 750 being the housing levy, and shift contribution having increased to 1,375. Now, if things go as per plan of the government, meaning there's already some tax laws amendment bill that is before the House that is also proposing that the housing levy contribution and the shift contribution should be allowable deduction, meaning before you are taxed, you're going to deduct the NSSF contribution, the housing levy, and the NHF or shift contribution. Then if that works, takes effect, and also the NSSF contribution goes to 3,000 shillings, then this person is going to take home 39,029 shillings. It's a slight reduction from 39,092 shillings of the current moment, but if you had to use a higher figure of a salary of, say, 100, you're going to see what that means in terms of the reduction in the earnings or take home of such individuals. That's data point for this week.